William Morrow and HarperAudio present Romances and Practicalities, a love story, maybe yours, in 250 questions, by Lindsay Jill Roth. Read by Brittany Pressley. To the Brit, I love you. A lot. Author's Note. To write this book, I conducted interviews with more than 100 people, including a wide range of public figures, from medical doctors and psychologists to authors, podcasters, entertainers, and financial and business experts, as well as individuals and couples from all walks of life, many of whom have utilized and/or tested the Romances and Practicalities system. Featuring a diverse array of inputs and experiences in terms of race, religion, sexuality, gender, and geographic location was important to my research and the telling of this story. In order to protect the privacy of the brave and generous souls who shared with me the most intimate details of their lives and relationships, I have changed some names and identifying details. In a few instances, I have attributed the stories of a single individual or couple to multiple people in order to further preserve their anonymity. In writing about relationships generally, I most often use the neutral term partner, though sometimes, and certainly where specifically appropriate, opt for husband, wife, boyfriend, or girlfriend. I also sometimes use the term marriage interchangeably with relationship or partnership. The landscape of dating and mating has changed considerably in the last few decades. More and more people are pursuing, or are at least interested in, less traditional forms of romantic entanglement. From ethical non-monogamy to polyamory to long-term cohabitation. The more people I spoke with, however, the more I came to believe that our wants, needs, hopes, dreams, insecurities, patterns and practices, and attempts and struggles to connect, in the context of safe, non-violent romantic pairings, are universal. My hope is that Romances and Practicalities is relevant for anyone seeking a long-term connection built on honesty and intimacy, whatever that may look like to them. Introduction. 30 minutes before our second date, the Brit was called back to London. Unlike our first magical evening together, this time his confusion about how to proceed was palpable. His lips hovered close to mine, but hesitated at the point of contact. The whens about our future had shifted to ifs. I'd been corresponding with the brown-eyed British financier for 2 months. What started as a setup, an innocuous email from mutual friends, "We think you two should meet," had quickly given way to a flurry of text messages, like full-on conversations about life in the city, our jobs, our families, and when we might meet, only to discover that we had diametrically opposed work schedules. When he was in New York, I was in Los Angeles for business and visiting a friend in Toronto. When I was back in town, he was in London. Still, things soon progressed to the point where I didn't want to swipe anymore, as no chat could possibly measure up to the one I was already having, and I hadn't even heard his accent yet. When our first date finally rolled around, I realized I wanted to kiss him even before the appetizers arrived. He'd requested a second date before the evening ended. The heat between us was electric enough to make even the most jaded of internet singles wonder if there might be such a thing as meant to be. So, when he went back to London for good, we doubled down. I should pause here to tell you that we weren't forced apart by a global pandemic, just regular old distance, 3,000 miles of ocean and 5 time zones. We were in a romantic lockdown. For the foreseeable future, seeing and hearing each other would have to compensate for the lack of our other 3 senses. Yet somehow, there's an abundance of creative things to do when separated from those you love, or hope to love. And not just the titillating stuff, but more thoughtful ways of connecting at a distance. We started by sending each other snail mail packages with handwritten notes to read before bed. Then we went running together, me in Central Park, him in Hyde Park. Who needed podcasts or playlists when he was there, in my pocket and in my ears, encouraging me to push through the burn? I'd stop at the top of the reservoir to show him the view, and he'd always find some new corner of Kensington to share with me. Years before this, my best friend and I had written notes to each other in the margins of the books we read, sharing our thoughts on the copies so we'd know what each of us had been thinking at that precise moment. As a working actress,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?